Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, so we're going to continue where we left off yesterday about Raghunatha Das Gosvami. We're trying to do this as a study course, so what we're going to do is in the evenings when we revise and learn new slokas, we'll also within 1 minute or 2 minutes discuss again what we talked about in the morning. Not like discussing, but asking that, making sure everyone retained it. So we'll ask just for the main stories or the main points that we discussed. That way we're trying to make an imprint in the mind. Otherwise, if we just hear it and don't reflect on it and then don't have to repeat it, then we won't remember. That's what we're trying to do, is that we hear, but then if we know we have to repeat or do kirtan, then it forces us to work harder to remember. So yesterday we talked about the childhood pastimes of Raghunatha Das Gosvami, leading up to the point of him meeting Nityananda at Panihati, and how he served all the Vaishnavas there. Not only the Vaishnavas, but when he began to serve prasad, then people came from all directions also, hearing that this feast was going on. All the villagers and everyone came and took part of that feast. And we heard how Nityananda gave him his blessings. He put his feet on his head, and he called this Danda Mahotsava. And we heard how Danda means both like a kind of punishment, but in this sense it was out of great affection, and really it means he was giving this chance to be renounced, to leave family life, because the Danda means the rod of a sannyasi, the staff of a sannyasi. So once he returned home from Panihati, it said only a short time after that, one morning, his guru, Yadunandanacharya was his Diksha guru and family guru. He came early one morning and he met with Raghunath, and he told him, "Oh Raghunath, in my own ashram, my pujari has left, and now there's no one there to worship Thakurji. So I want you to come with me to that disciple's home where he left, and with me we can encourage him to come back and again serve Thakurji. For some reason or other he has left, now we need to go and bring him back." So Raghunath was very happy, because generally whenever he goes anywhere he has to be accompanied by many guards. But his guru has much higher authority than the guards, and the guards also respect the guru, because he's not just the guru of Raghunath but the whole family and the whole community. So therefore they let Raghunath go with him without any guards. And he said, "No problem, I'm just going with my Gurudev." So once he left with his Gurudev, after a short while he told his Gurudev, "No problem, you go back to your ashram, you go back to your place, I will go to your disciple and bring him back. I will send him back. There's no need for you to come." So his Gurudev also is Antaryami. He was working with Nityananda Prabhu, because Nityananda is Akanda Guru Tattva, the original Guru, and all Gurus are working along with Nityananda, and Nityananda had already given this Danda Mahotsav, which means like permission to leave family life, because before Mahaprabhu had told him, "Stay at home, gare jao, na hoi batul." Go home, don't be crazy, don't rush. So then when he met with Nityananda, Nityananda gave him the blessings to leave, and he removed all obstacles, and then soon after his Guru came and said, "Oh, you need to come and help me like this." So his Guru happily accepted, and even though he knew what Raghunath's going to do. So Raghunath went to that disciple and told him his Gurudev's message and sent him back to Thakurji's seva. And then from there he went straight into the forest. They said many other times Raghunath tried to escape, but he kept being caught and brought back. But he would go on the main roads, or anyhow, somehow or other he would be caught, because it said also, without Guru Kripa, we cannot escape samsara. So now he had received Nityananda's Kripa and his Gurudev's Kripa, mercy. So this time he could escape without being caught. But what did he do? He didn't go on the main road. He wanted to go to Puri to see Mahaprabhu. Nityananda had given him blessings also to go to Puri and be with Mahaprabhu. So he went through the forest and jungle, not in the ordinary roads, so that if the guards were to find him, it would be very, very difficult. And he went in such a way that they would not be able to find him. So it said that he was so eager to meet with Mahaprabhu and to escape that he practically ran the entire way to Puri, all the way from Bengal, which is hundreds of kilometers. And he did it in a very short time. I forget the amount of time, maybe you know. I think it was
12 days.
12 days, yeah. Yeah. And he would only, on the way, he would stop, because mostly he's running through the forest. But if he was at any householder's home, then they would give him a little bit of milk or some chickpeas or some sattu or something, and he would just take a little bit and run to Puri. And when he arrived in Puri, he was, because for 12 days he'd been running and practically fasting, that he was like skin and bones. So he appeared before Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu was very happy to see him. Mahaprabhu embraced him with great love and affection. It said that before Mahaprabhu said, "Go home," but now Mahaprabhu embraced him and said, "I'm very happy to see that you have escaped the pit of stool." Mahaprabhu said, "You are stuck in this stool-like family existence." It's very strange, even though they were a Vaishnava family, Mahaprabhu still spoke these harsh words. People may think, oh, this is very painful to hear. But ultimately we understand that the body and family attachments is not the fit place for the Atma, the spiritual. We want to attain the spiritual body and the spiritual family. And as long as we're stuck in this lower frame of existence, it's holding us back from reaching our highest potential. And therefore it's not a fit place for the soul. And the body is just, why does he say it's a pit of stool? This is the nature of the body. The body is always filled with stool, urine, pus, blood. Anything that comes out of the body is impure. If mucus comes out, it's impure. Spit comes out, it's impure. Sweat, stool, urine. There's all impure things coming from the body. And we take nice things into the body and it just becomes impure. The body is ultimately, we can cleanse it and use it as a temple for God's service. But if we want to serve God, like if we want to do Thakurji Seva, we have to be in clean cloth. Cloth, what is clean cloth? Cloth that hasn't been in the association of the body for too long. Because if you wear the cloth, if it's in your body association without being washed or cleaned from your body association, then it becomes smelly, dirty, sweaty. So, and then we have to cleanse ourselves, put on tilak, do achman, then we can serve Thakurji. So he said, you've escaped the pit of stool. Because when we renounce the external attachments, then we can attach ourselves to divine reality or our divine existence, our spiritual existence. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to attach ourselves to our spiritual existence in the spiritual world. But to do that, we have to first detach ourselves from material life. Then we can enter spiritual life. It's very difficult to balance material life and spiritual life. You can do it, but you have to make the material part of your very, very minor and the spiritual part the main essence of your life. So we see grahastas who are able to do that. They're good grahastas, proper grahastas. So Mahaprabhu said, you've escaped the pit of stool. And then he said, I'll give you into the shelter of Swarup Damodar. He said, you are now Swarupera Raghu. Because there's another Raghunath also. So he said, you are Swarupera Raghu. You are Swarup Damodar's Raghunath. And in Braj Leela, Swarup Damodar is Lalita Devi. And Raghunath is Rati Manjari, also known as Tulsi Manjari. And he's under the shelter of Rupa Manjari, who's in the group of Lalita Sakhi. So they're all in this group of Lalita Sakhi. Therefore, he placed him into the guidance of Swarup Damodar. And Swarup Damodar was also like the best friend of Mahaprabhu. Gadadhar Pandit was a bit more in the background. He was in childhood, they were actually very, very close. Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar were bosom friends in childhood. But once they took sannyas, they would meet regularly. Mahaprabhu would go and hear from Gadadhar about the Bhagavatam from at Tota Gopinath. And Gadadhar took Kshetra sannyas, which was a vow never to leave Puri. But still, he stayed a little bit of distance from Mahaprabhu because Gadadhar is non-different from Radharani. And Mahaprabhu is trying to experience the moods of Radharani and serve through them. So he didn't want to create any hindrance in Mahaprabhu's absorption in the mood of Radharani, being Radharani herself. So she was like a principal. In a school, there's a principal and then there's teachers or professors. So Swarup Damodar on one hand was the best friend of Mahaprabhu there in Puri because he was also a sannyasi, so they had similar kind of mood. Ramananda Roy was also like the best friend of Mahaprabhu, but he was grahasta and he came a little bit later. Swarup Damodar was always with Mahaprabhu. And So anyhow, they stayed together like that, and Raghunath began staying at the place of Swarup Damodar, and it said that he always wanted to get some instruction from Mahaprabhu. Actually, Mahaprabhu said you should stay under the direct guidance of Swarup Damodar, and whatever he tells you to do, you should follow that, considering it non-different from my instruction. Sometimes we want Vaishnavas to always directly tell us everything, but if they tell us to follow a sevak, then that is non-different from their instruction. And also, if Guru or high-class Vaishnavas gives us an instruction directly and we don't follow, this becomes avagya, a neglect of their order, and it can cause an obstacle in our devotional service or life. So that's why Vaishnavas, sometimes they will work through others. We're not on their same level, because if Guru gives you instruction and you don't follow, it's very dangerous. So usually Guru will give general suggestions or advice, but not like a direct order. And if they give a direct order, we're very fortunate, but we must follow it. It said, Guru Agya Hoya Vicharaniya. Never neglect the direct order of Guru. You should not consider whether to do or not, you should just do it. Therefore, generally in class, they will speak principles, general principles that we should try to follow. So he prayed again and again for instruction from Mahaprabhu. Finally, Mahaprabhu agreed, and he gave him one primary instruction. And he said, Gramya Vartana Sunibe, Gramya Vartana Kahibe, Balona Kaibe or Balona Paribi, Amani Manad Hoy Krishna Nam Sadalabe, Braje Radha Krishna Seva Manasi Koribe. So what is that? He said, Gramya Vartana Kahibe, do not waste your time in village talk, ordinary gossip, nor hearing it. Don't hear it or don't speak it. And then don't try to wear opulent clothing, balona paribe, and don't eat such opulent foodstuffs, balona kaibe. And then always be amani manad hoy Krishna Nam sadalabe. Always chant Krishna Nam. But in order to always chant Krishna Nam, you must be free of the desire for honor from others while honoring everyone else. These are the two conditions in order to be able to always chant. Mahaprabhu also says this in Shastakam, Trinadapi Sunichena Tororiva Sahishrana Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sahari. Amani Manad means always honor others without desire for manad, respect from others. So in order be humble and be tolerant and serve and honor everyone. And always in your mind serve Radha Krishna in Braj. That's the last line. Braje Radha Krishna Seva Manasi Koribe. So worship Radha Krishna but in Braj. Braje Radha Krishna Seva Manasi Koribe. It means by the mind, Manasi Koribe, serve Radha Krishna in Braj. So that was his instruction. So he began to follow this very seriously. And it said another thing that's very prominent from his life in Puri was his renunciation. Puri says we should not try to prematurely imitate this instruction or example of Raghunath if we're not qualified. So Mahaprabhu said don't eat opulent food. So what we do is, what Puri says is when Mahaprabhu says don't eat opulent food, it means what is opulent food? Always trying to endeavor to arrange those kinds of things which are enjoyable to you, to your senses, what your senses are craving. Instead, you should humbly accept whatever is arranged by Vaishnavas. Sometimes Vaishnavas cook opulent prasadam, and we say, no, I won't take this. I'll just go eat, make some boiled vegetables. I like it better. Then for us, those boiled vegetables are opulent food, and the prasad is simple food that we are neglecting. But also there's different sides. Sometimes Puri says, everything is available, but we should learn how to take what is necessary only. Because if we take too much, then it's very difficult to absorb our senses and mind in bhakti, because then we become dull. If we're always eating, and we become dull-minded. Puri tells a few stories. Once in Mathura, he would say, Gurudev once asked him, why are you cooking such opulent prasadam all the time? He would make a big breakfast and a nice lunch. He said, because a lot of the people, they don't have desire for bhajan, and they'll cause disturbance by always fighting and gossiping. So you give them a big breakfast and they go to sleep. And then I go to the market, buy vegetables, and I cook lunch. And then they take lunch and then they go to sleep. And then there's the evening arti in the program, and they take dinner and then they go to sleep, so they don't disturb anyone. Because if they're not qualified, then we'll always be fighting and arguing. But everything is according to time, place, and circumstance. That's why the best thing is to follow the guidance of what Vaishnavas are doing and what they want. Before, in Mathura, Prabhuji arranged milk every night for some time. And then Gurudev came one time and said, this is not milk you're giving them, this is poison. And you'll see the results soon. And so then, after a short while, Prabhuji saw that nighttime, everyone started fighting over the milk. Oh, he got one extra glass. Oh, you gave him more. And then they even started beating each other. And then Prabhuji realized, oh look, this was not milk I was giving, this is poison. Why? If you give milk to a serpent, its poison increases. So they're only fighting by taking this. But now, he's giving milk every day and no one's fighting. For like the whole winter, 6 months, every day he's getting like 50 liters of milk. There's a lot of money going also, 50 liters of milk, like 40, 50 rupees a liter. Thousands of rupees. But Prabhuji's, and no problem. So everything is according to time, place. So we should not think, oh, the Vaishnavas are arranging this, I won't take. This is not for me. But also we don't overindulge. Rupa Goswami says, Atyahara prasascha prajalpa niyamagraha jana sangas chalodiyam cha sadbir bhakti vinasati. 6 things will destroy your inclination to bhakti. Over collecting, overindulging the senses. Atyahara prasascha prajalpa, engaging in mundane talks. Niyamagraha, over following or not properly following rules and regulations. And bad association, these destroy your bhakti. So we follow Mahaprabhu's instruction. We take what Vaishnavas give us to wear. We dress appropriately. We see Gurudev would not dress in opulent clothes all the time. And then we try to always engage in Krishna Nam, Krishna Kirtan. Some people say we can just do Krishna Kirtan and Manasi Seva. We don't need to follow external rules and regulations. But these external rules and regulations create a proper avesh environment. And for you to be, avesh is absorption. So Puri says there's 3 things you need to follow. Vesh is your attire, Samavesh is your environment, your associates and where you are living, and then you can become Avesh or absorbed. So people think, I'll just become absorbed in Manasi Seva, but I'll be in bad association and always taking material, Raja and Tamasic things, like dressing in tight jeans and shirts, running around. And Puri says, how are you going to absorb your mind in Krishna? He said these things, he said particularly like very tight clothes, it creates Rajagun mood, and it creates a desire to enjoy, because we like the sense of touch, and if these tight clothes, it's like they're always embracing us, tight jeans. They're always like clinging onto us and embracing us, so it's like one kind of lover. And it disturbs the mind. Not disturbs the mind, but it's very hard. It's like if you wear certain kinds of things, they have a specific gun, quality. Like if you take certain kinds of food, like alcohol, it has an effect on the body and mind. So same thing with types of clothes. Also certain kinds of clothes like plastic, they're more in the mood of tamagun, and then they influence the mind also. So he said generally we wear cotton or things that comes directly from the earth naturally, because that's like the natural gift of the earth gives some kind of gift to clothe her children. So he said cotton specifically is very good for that, because it's pure and it's like the milk of Mother Earth. It comes that it's very white also, cotton, right? So he said this is like Mother Earth's milk for her children to wear. But then you take many artificial things, then it becomes, so it's like sattvic. Cotton is like sattvic. Anyhow, so then if we create all these, if we follow this properly, we don't engage in prajalpa, and we don't try to eat opulently always according to our own desires. We're not always trying to do everything how we like. Instead, we're just serving Vaishnavas. Then we can start to follow bhakti. And we can obtain the position of Manasi Seva. But even Manasi Seva, some people say you can do Manasi Seva, but you don't need to do Krishna Nam. You don't need to chant Krishna Nam. I'll just sit and meditate on Astakali Lila. But Mahaprabhu said, no, you must Sada Krishna Nama Labe, always chant Krishna Nam, while respecting and honoring all others. Then you can do Manasi Seva in the mind. Then internally, and we heard there's many stages of Manasi Seva. It'll take too long to get into all of it, but we say like there's the preliminary stage, first stage, which is like you meditate on going to the pastime places, visualize the pastime places, offer pranam, render some service, sweep, clean, offer some flowers or offering. And then gradually you can meditate on the pastimes, and eventually then you can come to the position where you're actually serving Radha Krishna internally. And it said, Ratri dine nija korya bhavan, nija siddha deya korya bhavan, Ratri dine Radha Krishna sevan. That you should day and night be absorbed in your spiritual form while serving Radha and Krishna in Braj. But we cannot artificially reach that stage, so we have to follow the gradual process of Manasi Seva. Okay, so we'll move forward. So then Raghunath, it said, how would he live? He would maintain himself by, it said that Mahaprabhu wasn't, like now we think if Vaishnavas don't give me a nice room and food to eat, then we won't stay with Vaishnavas. But all these devotees were staying with Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu didn't arrange rooms for them all. For some people, like Haridas Thakur, he arranged a place for him at Siddha Bakul. And he arranged a place for Raghunath with Swarup. But what would he eat every day? For most people, they would have to arrange for themselves. Said Mahaprabhu, later on he arranged for Raghunath. But first Raghunath he would go, because before he was also like a prince. So like he lived in a very opulent setting. But now he started begging. It said, what would he do? At first he would stay outside of the Jagannath temple once a day, like in the evening time, and beg. And people would give out some remnants or something from Jagannath, or people would come and give him something, and that way he would maintain his life. So Mahaprabhu would ask Swarup occasionally, oh, how is Raghunath maintaining himself now? Because again, he is like overseeing, no? Oh, I forgot. In one hand, like Gadadhar was like the principal and Swarup was the professor for Mahaprabhu. But in Raghunath's case, Mahaprabhu was watching from afar, like the principal, and Swarup was the teacher. So Mahaprabhu would ask, how is he doing? What is he taking? How is he maintaining himself? So Swarup would say, oh, he goes outside the Jagannath temple once a day, and he waits, and whoever comes and gives him something, he uses that to maintain his life. And then a few weeks later, Mahaprabhu asked, what is he doing now? He said, oh, he said that was like prostitution. Because you're standing outside looking, will this person give, will that person give, will this person give? So it's like prostituting yourself. So he stopped doing that, and then he started going to like a soup kitchen. Like there's some places where the poor people go who don't have any means of anything to maintain themselves, and they will go and they'll stand in line, and then they'll get like a bowl of some kind of soup or khichdi or something. So he takes that once a day and maintains himself. Then Mahaprabhu asked later, what is he doing? He said, oh, it's very astonishing. He said, what does he do? When they have Jagannath Prasad, sometimes there's like some leftover rice, and they will throw that out for the cows to eat. And so he said he goes where the rice is kept, any leftover rice or leftover food, and after the cows take their part and reject the rest, like if something is very old and like rotten, not even the cows will take it. Then Raghunath will take that and rinse it, wash it, and take that. Sometimes add a little bit of salt for just the rice. And Mahaprabhu heard about that, and he was very happy actually. And one time Mahaprabhu went there where Raghunath was, because he heard where it was, the place. So he went there, and as Raghunath was taking it, then he came up behind and said, oh, you're always taking the good stuff and hiding it from me. You're not sharing anything with me. You're taking the best of everything and not giving anything to me. So he grabbed his hand, and he grabbed a handful of this rice and also ate it. And then Swarup also went with Mahaprabhu, and so Mahaprabhu went to eat another handful. And then Swarup stopped him and said, that is enough. Enough. I don't want you to become sick. So Raghunath was living in such a renounced way. It said, Raghunath Vairagya Pasanera Reka. His renunciation was like lines in a stone. Not only that, but his performance of bhakti, his absorption in bhakti was like lines in a stone. So Mahaprabhu was very happy. But after that, when Mahaprabhu saw his dedication, then he gave him, shortly after that, he gave him a Govardhan Shila that Mahaprabhu had been given by Shankar Aranya Brahmachari, and he gave him a Gunjamala. So the Gunjamala represents Radharani, and Giriraj represents Krishna. We can also see Giriraj as Dasi of Radhika, maidservant of Radhika. But it said Raghunath saw that this Giriraj is Krishna and Gunjamala is Radha. So he's giving me a chance to serve. Also, he's giving me shelter of Giriraj Govardhan. These Giriraj was so dear to Mahaprabhu, it said that Mahaprabhu would hold him to his chest and weep, hold him to his eyes and weep, and always be embracing Giriraj. So Mahaprabhu kept this Giriraj for some months when he was given him, and then he gave him to Raghunath. So we can imagine how much he had affection for Raghunath, that this Giriraj that he loved more than his own life, he gave to Raghunath. And he told him, you should now serve him. First he said, you can just serve him by doing Abhishek and giving some Tulsi Manjaris. But then after a short time he said, you should feed him also. Because he also didn't want Raghunath to starve. So Raghunath was living in such a renounced way that he thought, let me give him Giriraj, and then he has to serve Giriraj, and then he'll have to take his prasadam also. So he said, every day you can give him 8 kajas. We have these Jagannath kajas, so every day give him 8 kaja, And he also told Swarup, you can arrange prasad for him, boga for Giriraj. And naturally, if you have Thakurji, then people will also come and offer fruits and other things. And then also Mahaprabhu told Govinda, his sevak, to start giving one portion of Mahaprabhu's main meal to Raghunath. So Mahaprabhu every day would eat once a day because he's a sannyasi. Sannyasis generally they'll eat once a day. So whatever would be arranged for Mahaprabhu, like they'll cook a small amount or they'll arrange a small amount for Mahaprabhu. He said divide it into 4 parts. 1 part for me, 1 part for Haridas, 1 part for Raghunath, and then 1 part for Govinda. Govinda would also take that. So in this way Mahaprabhu, but it wasn't also like it was a great amount, because when Ramchandra Puri, he would criticize all the different devotees. And so sometimes once he saw that there were a line of ants going into Mahaprabhu's Gambira, he said, oh, look at this bogus sannyasi. He's hiding in his room and eating so many sweets, so that's why there's ants going there. And this devotee was very strange. Like, he would make big feasts in his house and invite Vaishnavas to come and take. And then when they would come in to take, he would feed them more and more and more, give more and more spoons of kheer and sweets and sabji and paneer. And then after they would be done, then he would start criticizing them. Oh, you call yourself a Vaishnav, you're just enjoying your tongue, that's the only point of your life. You're bogus like this. So he was always disturbing the devotees like that. And they were always thinking, when will he leave? But Mahaprabhu, they also criticized Mahaprabhu. And later he also criticized Madhavendra Puri. So we don't need to discuss him, but it said Mahaprabhu sometimes would eat a very small amount also, but they would divide this and give something to Raghunath, give something to Haridas and Govinda, and Mahaprabhu would take together. So in this way Raghunath passed his time. It said that every day he would hear from Swarup Damodar about Mahaprabhu's Leela in the Gambira. Because in the Gambira for about 18 years almost, for a few years Mahaprabhu was meeting with the devotees more regularly, in the Rath Yatra time and other times in different gardens, like in the Balabhaddin Udhyan, they would spend time with each other. But most of the time, after that period passed, Mahaprabhu was internally engaged in his absorption in Radharika's moods, fulfilling his internal desires, Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kiddhisovanayaiva Svadhyayinad Bhuta Madhurima. He was absorbed in fulfilling these inner desires. So he was spending most of the time in the Gambira, and his associates there were only Swarup, Ramananda, and Sikhi Mahidi, and sometimes, like Madhavi Devi is considered half of he had 3.5 intimate associates. So Madhavi Devi is considered to be the half, because she is a lady, so she could not associate with Mahaprabhu and the others closely, but she was also very elevated. And Sikhi Mahidi is her brother. So mostly Sikhi Mahidi, Rai Ramananda and Swarup Damodar would be there in the Gambira, and mostly Swarup and Rai Ramananda. It wasn't open for everyone. They said, Bahiranga Kori Naam Sankirtan, Antaranga Kori, like Radha Krishna Chintan. That with general devotees you can engage in Naam Sankirtan and programs, but with your own close associates, only then can you really absorb your mind in real Manasi Seva and Bhajan. Okay, 10 minutes. So, Swarup Damodar would talk to Raghunath because they lived in the same place. So he would tell Raghunath about the different realizations of Mahaprabhu or the different pastimes he was performing. And Swarup Damodar also took notes. It's called the Swarup Damodar Kadacha. He was like the secretary for Mahaprabhu, so he would take notes about Mahaprabhu's activities. And also when people wanted to give writings to Mahaprabhu to read, like poetry or different books, then first Swarup Damodar would approve them. Otherwise he didn't want to disturb Mahaprabhu by giving him all these different kinds of bogus writings. So he wrote these notes and he told them to Raghunath. So Raghunath in this way got the chance to be absorbed in Mahaprabhu's pastimes for many years. 16 years. He stayed in Puri with Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar. And then after, when Mahaprabhu entered Nitya Lila, then very soon after that, Swarup Damodar left, Ramananda Roy left, Haridas Thakur left even before Mahaprabhu. So all the Mahaprabhu's associates began to disappear. And at that time, Raghunath felt like an orphan. One more pastime we should mention actually before this is that for a couple of years after Raghunath came to Puri, his parents found out where he went. They found out, they knew, okay, he went to Mahaprabhu in Puri. So they tried to get him to come back, but could not get him to come back. And finally they realized we cannot do anything. So what they did is his father then sent servants with a lot of wealth. And he said, you should serve the devotees in Puri. And regularly he would send more. So Raghunath wouldn't take any of this for himself. He wouldn't spend even a single penny on himself. But instead he started arranging feasts and inviting all the Vaishnavas of Puri for his feasts. And these feasts went on for a couple of years, but then they suddenly stopped. Mahaprabhu himself would go to the feasts. So Mahaprabhu asked Swarup Damodar, oh, why has he stopped the feasts? And then Swarup Damodar said, oh, he said that you're attending, but he knows you're not really happy. So he stopped them, knowing that you're not really pleased with these. And Mahaprabhu said, yes. Vishayana kaile malin hoyeman, malin man hoyle nahi Krishna rasmaran. If you take foodstuffs that are made by sense enjoyers or arranged by sense enjoyers, then you will not be able to meditate on Krishna, nahi Krishna rasmaran. And then he said, Jivara lalase jay iti utidai, shishno daran parayana Krishna nahi pai. If you're always running after enjoying your tongue, and you're going here and there, where's a nice feast going on, then you'll never be able to attain Krishna. You'll be the slave of your senses. Especially said your tongue, belly and genitals. Why? If you're always enjoying with the tongue opulent foods, then it goes to your belly and creates an urge in the lower, like that region. And then your desire for sense enjoyment will become very difficult to stop. So Mahaprabhu spoke like that. And he was very happy that Raghunath stopped actually. So that pastime went on. And we see that on one hand, Nityananda arranged the Panimati Danda Mahotsav and he fed everyone. But this was Nityananda's direct desire. And at that time, Raghunath was giving his rati to everyone. But everything is according to our different stages. So we're not always in kindergarten. Sometimes there's kindergarten, then preschool, then primary school, then high school, then college, then university. So we don't want to always stay on the same platform of spiritual life. So when they were doing all these feasts, then Mahaprabhu said, okay, this is good sometimes, but it's better that he stopped. Mahaprabhu didn't tell him to stop also. But when he stopped and he heard the reason why he stopped, Mahaprabhu was very happy. And he said this, that if you're always enjoying from enjoyers' food, materialist food, then you won't be able to meditate on Krishna and you won't be able to achieve Krishna. So that was an important pastime in Puri also. I think we can finish. Maybe we'll stop before we tell the Braj pastimes. So then Swarup left, Mahaprabhu left, everyone left, and Raghunath was thinking what to do. So he was praying in his heart what to do, and he thought, okay, now I will go to Vrindavan. Originally he was thinking, I will go to Vrindavan to give up my life. He said that Shunyayate Mahagostim Govinda Vyagram, like, oh, this world is void without Mahaprabhu and Swarup Damodar. So he said, even Giriraj appears like a gaping mouth of a tiger trying to devour me, and Radhakund appears like a python also waiting to swallow me. So that was his mood of separation, and he thought, I will go to Braj and give up my life. But he thought, I also go and meet with Rupa and Sanatan. So that was his mood and desire. So it said that he took this he took Giriraj, and he took the Gunjamala, and he left to Vrindavan. So we can tell the Vrindavan pastimes, if we like, tomorrow. It's half hour finished. And tonight we'll quickly revise.
Some devotees that could not tolerate the food here because we don't have this diet habit, the patterns is different.
I agree.
So very difficult for them how to deal with these things.
I think it's best to be practical, and you can arrange something simple separately. Not everyone's on.
From time to time.
Also,
try to adopt.
You take a little bit, you honor the prasad, and make something according to because ultimately, our main focus isn't food. We want to do bhajan.
In China, actually, devotees eating very simply.
Yeah.
It's not eating opulent food, but it's just the different style of food.
Also, the body is used to a different kind of thing, and also it's because everything here is like a daily feast, and heavy, spicy. So you have to do what you can do with your body. Krishna says in the Gita, actually, he says that yukta ahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu yukta svapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. If you want to achieve yoga means like transcendence. If you want to achieve equilibrium also and transcendence, and be free of all misery, dukkha, then you have to be yukta ahar. First, you have to eat the appropriate kind of food. Yukta ahar, yukta vihar. Yukta vihar means you should be properly engaged in any kind of recreation or pleasure, or like how you spend your free time, basically. Yukta hara, yukta vihara, yukta chestasya. In all your endeavors, yukta svapna, in your sleeping, in your waking, in all your activities, you have to be balanced. Yukta means appropriate, like yukta vairagya. Yukta vairagya means appropriate renunciation. We cannot imitate Raghunatha Das Gosvami's. Puri would not be happy if, oh, I'm not going to take anything, I'll just go to the garbage, like the where we throw out all the prasadam, and I'll just collect some of that and eat that. And Puri won't be happy, because we can't imitate Raghunath. And also, the main thing is that we want to try to perform bhajan. And we don't want the body to disturb us. If the body's always disturbing us, it'll be hard to engage the mind in bhajan. So we should just do what can very naturally and easily be done to manage the body, to maintain the body, so that we can absorb the most of our time as possible in bhajan. And if the prasadam, if it's not helping or being favorable, then we can take a little bit and honor it with great respect, and then we can do something. But if it takes a lot of time, it's also a problem. So you should be done in such a way that you can do something very quickly and very easily. Like there are different facilities now that you can cook very quick. Like you can just throw everything in a pressure cooker and give it one whistle and wait for it to open and be done. Or you can get a crock pot, cook everything very easily. The main thing is you shouldn't like, oh, now we need a separate kitchen and we'll spend 3-4 hours cooking ourselves lunch. You know, like making it a big elaborate thing. Prabhuji said before, for some devotees who are like, have more health conditions, even some of the brahmacharis, he said, you can boil yourself some vegetables, you can make some simple khichdi, you can do anything you like. Prabhuji says, do as you is necessary. You should not try to over-renounce. But at the same time, you shouldn't make like a big announcement about it, like, oh, I'm not taking the prasadam, it's not too spicy for me, too oily. You honor it, knowing that this is Krishna prasad, and it's made for Thakurji's pleasure, and it's made for the general guests and devotees. You know, and not everyone is, Puri said, not everyone is like sick or weak. He said if healthy people take very sick and weak food, then they'll also become sick. So if you give healthy people always like boiled vegetables, this and that, then it will weaken them, he says. So this is Puri, what he likes to say. So you can do something separately, but just do it very subtly, without making any like announcement about it, and try to do it in a very simple way that doesn't take a lot of time. And if there's a few of you who need to do it, then you can work together. Some person can, because if you do it for yourself, then you have to shop, then you have to cook, then you have to clean, offer. It becomes a big endeavor. But if you have, say, 3 or 4 devotees who need some help maintaining themselves, or like who need that kind of thing separately, and they want to stay in the dham.
We are using the prasadam and mixing with some vegetables.
Yeah, no problem.
It's okay. You're not offering. Just adding some.
You try to offer to a picture. Offer in your mind and heart.
With the sabji, Babuji cooking sabji, we're mixing water and other sabjis, like making soup, like
sometimes
light.
Gurunya